They bombarded Earth's outpost, but humanity answered with firestorms from orbit. The first plasma barrage struck Kepler Station at 0347 hours, Terran Standard Time. Commander Sarah Chen watched through the reinforced viewport as violet energy beams carved through the asteroid mining facility's outer hull like heated knives through butter. The Zephyrian attack fleet, 12 sleek crescent-shaped vessels, hung in the void like harbingers of death, their weapons cycling for another devastating volley. "Ma'am, we've lost sections 7 through 12, reported Lieutenant Martinez, his fingers dancing across the tactical display. Casualties mounting. The mining crew in the lower levels. They didn't make it. Chen's jaw tightened. Kepler Station housed 3,000 civilians, miners, engineers, families who had made this remote outpost their home. The Zephyrians had given no warning, no ultimatum. They had simply arrived and begun their methodical destruction of humanity's furthest settlement. "Status on the evacuation shuttles?" Chen demanded, watching another plasma barrage illuminate the station's dying shields. "Launched 10 minutes ago, but they'll never outrun those interceptors," Martinez replied grimly. The enemy's smaller craft were already peeling away from the main fleet, their sleek forms darting toward the fleeing civilians like predators sensing wounded prey. Chen closed her eyes for a moment, thinking of her daughter aboard one of those shuttles. When she opened them again, her expression had hardened into something the Zephyrians would soon learn to fear. "Send the signal," she ordered quietly. Martinez hesitated. "Ma'am, are you certain? Once we transmit that code..." "Send it." The lieutenant's hands trembled slightly as he input the sequence, a simple numerical pattern that would race across the quantum communication network at faster-than-light speeds. Within moments, it would reach Earth, Mars, the Jupiter colonies, and every human military installation scattered across their expanding sphere of influence. It was a code that had never been used before, a code that every human military officer hoped would never need to be used. The code that meant, "Our civilians are under attack. Show them what we do to those who harm our own." Admiral Jackson received the transmission while reviewing supply reports aboard the dreadnought Retribution in Earth orbit. The moment he saw those numbers, everything else became irrelevant. Around him, the bridge erupted into controlled chaos as officers began implementing protocols that had been drilled but never executed. "All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Jackson," he broadcast on the emergency frequency. "Code Black is now in effect. Repeat, Code Black is in effect. You know your orders." Across human space, the response was immediate and terrifying in its coordination. Every available warship began emergency jump preparations. Space stations opened their military berths. Orbital platforms that the galaxy's other species believed were simple research facilities suddenly revealed their true nature as massive weapons arrays. The humans, it seemed, had been preparing for this day for a very long time. The Zephyrian fleet commander Zarthek felt a moment of satisfaction as his ships reduced another section of the human outpost to molten debris. These mammals had pushed too far into what the Zephyrian Empire considered their territory. This attack would send a clear message about the consequences of human expansion. His tactical officer's mandibles clicked nervously. "Commander, I'm detecting quantum wake signatures, multiple contacts jumping in system." Zarthek's reptilian features twisted into what passed for a smile among his species. Reinforcements, no doubt. How many ships do these humans think they can spare for a single mining station? The answer came in the form of a fleet that materialized at the edge of the system like an approaching storm. Not the handful of vessels Zarthek had expected, but hundreds of warships dropping out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed his own flagship. Sleek destroyers bristling with weapons he didn't recognize. And behind them, something that made his blood run cold, orbital bombardment platforms the size of small moons. "By the Great Nest," his tactical officer whispered. "Commander, there are over 300 ships out there, and those platforms, I've never seen anything like them." Admiral Jackson's voice cut across all frequencies, speaking in perfectly pronounced Zephyrian. "This is Admiral Jackson of the Terran Defense Force. You have attacked human civilians. You have one opportunity to surrender unconditionally. Zarthek's pride overrode his growing fear. The Empire had never surrendered to anyone. Human Admiral, you are outnumbered. Withdraw your forces or... You have 30 seconds, Jackson interrupted. 29, 28. The countdown continued with mechanical precision. At 0, the human fleet opened fire. What followed wasn't a battle, it was a demonstration. The orbital platforms unleashed hell itself, their massive rail cannons hurling projectiles at relativistic speeds. The Zephyrian shields, considered state-of-the-art by galactic standards, lasted mere seconds against the coordinated barrage. But it was the smaller human ships that truly terrified Zarthek. They moved like living things, their AI-assisted targeting systems picking apart his fleet with surgical precision. Every shot found its mark. Every torpedo slipped through defenses that should have been impenetrable. Within 10 minutes, half, his fleet was gone. Within 20, only his flagship remained, its engines dead, life support failing. As rescue shuttles approached his dying ship, Zarthek finally understood the message the humans had been trying to send. They didn't just protect their territory, they protected their people. And anyone who threatened those people would face the full might of a species that had turned warfare into an art form. Commander Chen stood in the observation deck of the medical frigate, watching as the last Zephyrian survivors were taken aboard human rescue ships. Despite everything, the humans offered medical aid to their defeated enemies. It was, she reflected, perhaps the most human thing of all. Lieutenant Martinez approached with a data pad. Final casualty report, ma'am. We lost 437 people in the initial attack. Chen nodded grimly. Every name would be remembered, every family would be honored, and every species in the galaxy would know that attacking human civilians came with a price that few could afford to pay. In the distance, the orbital platforms were already jumping back to their hidden positions, ready to answer the next call, for protection. The galaxy had learned today that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their ships. It was their unwavering dedication to protecting their own, no matter the cost.